Okay, so let's review what we did prior to this one. We talked about substituting in for functions. So this was just some fancy notation, okay, to name a function. This is the function negative 2x minus 6. So we're going to take f of 0 and we're going to plug in 0 wherever we see x. Okay, we're going to put that in our calculator and we get negative 6. Okay. For the second one, f of negative 1, doing the same thing, taking negative 2 times x minus 6, this time plugging in the negative 1 and we get negative 4. So we're going to do basically the same thing, just plugging in, but we're going to take it a step further and we are going to plug in letters or variables. Okay, so again, more review. This says if p of x equals 2x plus 5, find the following p of negative 2. So I'm going to take my function and I'm going to replace x with negative 2. And here, when I put this in, I get positive 1. When I put in 1, I get 7. So the new part about today is we're going to be doing the same exact thing, but plugging in letters. So here it says, what about p of x? So the same way I plugged in 1, I'm going to just plug in an x for x. It sounds redundant, and it kind of is. So I'm going to replace x with x. And then I would simplify here. It just becomes the same thing. Again, it seems very redundant, right? And in this case it is, but it's not always going to be that way. And then if I take the next, it says, what about p of a? I'm just plugging in an a where I see x. So this becomes 2a, because 2 times a is 2a, plus 5. So the same way that you plug in letters, you plug in numbers. It's just our answers now are expressions rather than actual numbers. Okay, so now for this one it says if g of n equals 4n minus 3, find g of 2. Okay, so these are the ones we're used to. 4 times 2 is 8, 8 minus 3 is 5. We get a nice number because we plugged in a nice number. Now I'm going to find g of n. So I'm going to take 4n minus 3 and I'm going to plug in n. Okay, I'm plugging in the same letter. 4 times n is 4n minus 3. I get the same exact thing. Okay, but I don't get a simple number because I didn't plug in a simple number. I plugged in a letter. And now this one, a little bit more interesting, n minus 1 is what I'm plugging in. So I'm going to replace my parentheses with n minus 1. Now this time, okay, and I know we didn't review any of this just yet, but we're going to distribute here. Hopefully you remember that from prior math classes. We get 4n minus 4 minus 3. And then what also happens here, again, something we haven't reviewed yet, but we will, combining like terms. Hopefully you remember what those are. We get 4n minus 7 as our final answer. So definitely a little bit more work, but hopefully nothing crazy yet. Again, if h of a equals negative 3a plus 3, find h of negative 6. So again, I'm plugging in a number. That means my answer is going to be a number. So this ends up being 21 after you put it in your calculator. Now we're going to find h of a. So again, taking our function 3a plus 3, that's this right here, replacing that a with an a. Okay, negative 3 times a is just negative 3a. We get the same exact function. And then the last part for this one, find h of a plus 2. So I'm going to take negative 3 and I'm going to plug in a plus 2 plus 3. And again, this is going to be where I do that distributing. I'm going to get negative 3a minus 6 plus 3, which makes me be able to combine these last two terms because they're both numbers. Negative 3a minus 3 is what that would become. Last example, before you try the delta math assignment, if f of x equals x squared plus 2x minus 1, find h of negative 1. So I'm going to plug in negative 1 here and here. So I have to plug in twice for this one because it has an x here and here. Okay, also guys, I'm not using a stylus today. Kind of sort of having issues and doing the best I can with my finger on the tablet. So hopefully this is readable. Okay, and now when I plug this in to my calculator, I believe I get negative 2 because this is 1 minus 2 is negative 1 minus, yeah, you get negative 2. Okay, and then find f of x. So now we're plugging in x to 2 spots. Okay, and again, since we're plugging in the same letter, we get the same function. Okay, and then this last one's sort of a little bit of a challenge one. I don't think there's any on the delta math like this. Okay, I'm plugging in 2x here and 2x here. Now the only reason it's a challenge is because you have to remember how to multiply this. This is 2x times 2x, which is 4x squared. 2 times 2x is 4x and minus 1. So that would be your final answer. This would be your final answer here. All right, so go try the delta math and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.